Grant for getting us wonderful new mics and organizing us beautifully. So I just want you to think about these words before we have our opening prayer and say to yourself, I'm willing to know, I'm willing to let go, I'm willing to grow, and I'm willing to become. So know with me right now, there's a presence absolutely everywhere, whether we know it as God, Spirit, intelligence, and it's there whether we acknowledge it or not, it's there whether we use it or not. And so I'm filled with a quiet confidence that all of us here today are here to open our minds to learning, to open our hearts to feeling God's presence, and we're receptive to the ideas that we get. We welcome an increasing sense of knowing God's purpose for us, and know that in doing that we have to happily surrender old ideas, old beliefs, things that don't serve us anymore, and that we do that fearlessly, knowing that it's all good and it's for our growth. And so we welcome the discomfort of growth and learning, because it is not comfortable sometimes. But we welcome that experience in our lives. And we know that by being open and vulnerable, willing to honor ourselves, we're assured of joy, making our hearts sing, and increasing that enjoyment of that thing we call life. So as we take these minutes to listen, to absorb, to learn, we're just filled with gratitude and appreciation for what this center has to offer. So we let it go to that place we call law, where everything just works without effort, without pushing, without demanding. And we say thank you. And so it is. So part of the printouts that we had for this month from head office, one of them says, don't believe what your eyes are telling you. All they show you is limitation. Look with your understanding, find out what you already know, and you'll see the way to fly. And that was for a very famous book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, by Richard Bach. Old, but a goodie. So I want to quote, and I know you've all heard it, but it begs reminding, from Irma Bombeck. If I had to live my life over. She said, someone asked me the other day, if I had my life to live over, would I change anything? My answer was no. But then I thought about it and changed my mind. If I had to live my life over again, I would have waxed less, I don't know what she was waxing, and listened more. Instead of wishing away 9 months of pregnancy and complaining about the shadow over my feet, I'd have cherished every minute of it and realized that the wonderment growing inside me was to be my only chance in life to assist God in a miracle. I would never insisted that the car windows be rolled up on a summer day because my hair had just been teased and sprayed. I would have invited friends over to dinner even if the carpet was stained and the sofa was faded. I would have eaten popcorn in the good living room and worried less about the dirt when you lit the fireplace. I would have taken time to listen to what my grandfather rambled about his youth. I would have burnt the pink candle that was sculpted like a rose before it melted while being stored. I would have sat cross-legged on the lawn with my children and never worried about grass stains. I would have cried and laughed less while watching television and more while watching real life. I would have shared more of the responsibility carried by my husband, which I took for granted. I would have eaten less cottage cheese and more ice cream. I would have gone to bed when I was sick, instead of pretending the earth would go into a holding pattern if I weren't there for a day. I would never have bought anything just because it was practical, wouldn't show soil, guaranteed to last a lifetime. And when my children kissed me impetuously, I would never have said later, now go and get washed up for dinner. There would have been more I love yous, more I'm sorry, more I'm listening, but mostly, given another shot at life, I would have seized every minute of it, looked at it, really trying to see it, living it, exhausting it, and never give back that minute until there was nothing left of it. It always is worth reminding ourselves of that. So I have been inspired in the last couple of weeks. You know, when someone's selling a book, you see them on every channel on TV. And I've been so inspired by Rabbi Steve Lader, and he's from the big temple synagogue downtown in Koreatown, and he's written another book, and it's called For You When I'm Gone. A much nicer title than the book that I recommend to everybody called I'm Dead, Now What? That book, and in case you don't know, it is the most practical book to go through when you're organizing your life and you're just getting your life sorted out, and you can do it fearlessly, you can do it in your own time, but it's a huge help to those people that have, you know, living while you've passed on. And it's very, very practical. Rabbi Lader's book is more, he calls it writing an ethical will. And he says we spend so much time and money on estate plans with attorneys and advisors and with family, trying to figure out who's going to get what, and almost no time, if any, trying to figure out the words we want to bequeath to our loved ones. And we want to transmit values and our guidance and our love long after we're gone, because giving the people we love stuff when we're gone is like handing them a picture of food. It's not going to nourish them. It's not going to sustain them. It's not going to comfort them. Our words will do that. And this book pleads with us to bequeath the truths of our lives. So an ethical will is the truth of our life. Our obituary is the facts. And bequeathing what we love and who we love is, and words to that means so much more. And we've experienced that a lot lately in sharing our feelings about people that have passed. And he talks about success not being as important when it comes to what you've shared with your family and those people you love. And he says we need to think about having this internal conversation and then sharing it. If I summarize the book in 2 words, it would be, don't wait. Don't wait to tell your loved ones these things. Don't wait to tell yourself about your life. One day we'll feel, oh my goodness, it's crashing down on top of me. I feel like I'm a prisoner. The big thing, when we think about our lives, we think about failure. And he says it's not something to be sad about or feel bad about or to regret. He says it's a stepping stone. All those failures are stepping stones to where we are now. And I know many of us realize that something that happened that we couldn't interpret as being good at the time was a stepping stone to a better life. He says failure is the soil in which success is rooted. Excuse me. So he also says, what's our biggest regret? And to answer that question honestly requires that we crack ourselves open at the beginning, that we become vulnerable enough to share our greatest regret. And there are mistakes of commission, and there are mistakes of omission, the things we didn't do. And he finds at the end of people's lives that that's what they regret, the things they didn't do, the opportunity they didn't grasp, the shot at love they didn't take. Excuse me. We all find a way to rationalize or heal from those things we did, but there's no way to deal with what we didn't do. The times we didn't show up, the words we didn't say, the help we didn't reach out for, the change we didn't make. These are the things that most people regret. And it's extraordinarily important to realize that, not because it's re-engineering the past. He quotes that thing that says, I've given up all hope of a better past. But he uses it to go forward, and he recommends that everybody does. So he says it's important to think about what you regret, because then you can face what you want to improve. Make new goals for yourself. You know, I realize when I hit a certain age of importance, and I don't usually do age. I'm delighted to have friends of many decades and ages. But I realized that my life plan changed. Suddenly I thought, I can't do that dream anymore. I can't handle this thing anymore. And it was a bit of a shock to me to feel my life going, oops, I'm on the downward slide. But Rabbi Leder's book is about living and not dying. So are we living our lives? Are we really enjoying our lives? And we're not putting off till the mortgage is paid, till the kids finish college, till this, that, and the other. Every day needs to have something beautiful in it. Every day needs to have something that's on that so-called bucket list. So when I was a kid, for some reason, I always wanted to travel. Travel fascinated me. Slides of people's trips never bored me. I wanted to go through people's cases of souvenirs. And in those days, plane travel was not an option. It was too expensive. Nowadays, plane travel is less of a choice right this minute, but it's available to us if we sit at the airport long enough. So I sat down with books and I did cargo ship routes and I planned and I put all the countries that I wanted to go to, and I realized that I was doing a treasure map. And that treasure map, I had pictures in it of places I wanted to go. I put affirmations next to it. At that time, unity played a part in our family life. And I didn't look at it for years, but I carried it with me. And years later, I realized that I had a picture of Neuschwanstein on the front, the castle that Walt Disney based his castle on. I'd been there. I had wanted to go to the Passion Play in Oberammergau and wasn't able to go for the decades of 1970, 1980, but just for me, they decided to celebrate 350 years of the Passion Play. That's a lie, but never mind. And I was able to go then. And that was a dream come true. I dreamt about that since I was 12. And then I opened it up and I saw a picture of a restaurant in Barcelona. And I thought, oh my God, I went there. I hadn't looked at this book for years, but there was so much in it that had come to fruition, and I now realize I was sowing the seed, and the Lord took care of it. And I find that a really invaluable thing to do. And if you do a treasure map, or whatever you want to call it, you keep it to yourself. You don't let people demean it. You don't let people negate it. You just do it. But I read recently about an happiness map. And Monica did this terrific program once where we had to do a circle and fill in the amount of time we spent doing certain things. And it was illuminating because you realize that life was out of balance. And you had a choice to balance it a bit more, with pleasure, with happiness, with your life, with your family. But it was a very clear diagram of where we could make improvements if we chose to. So, I am going to head back here. So, Dr. Leder, excuse me, everybody. So we know about treasure maps. We know about, but it's worth doing a happiness map because that will help you realize you want to get your life in balance today, now, not just down the line when we've got time. This is now. And I want us to think about what you don't enjoy as well, because that's important to look at what you need to get rid of, to make more space for the stuff you love and the things you want to do, and make your actions match those priorities. Once you've written down the priorities of life, you go, okay, and you can reorder them. It's you. No one else has to read this. No one else has to know about it. But once you sit and have a vision for your life, everything you do, and this was a lesson given to me by someone dear to me, check that everything is in line with your vision. It doesn't matter if it's someone else's vision. Is it in line with my vision? And you make decisions according to that. So write these things down. If you don't write them down, they waffle on, like I'm doing. But when it's on paper, you can change it, but you've got it there in front of you as a guide. I have to tell you that when I finally did that trip and could afford an airline ticket, I bought a round the world ticket. That gave me marvelous flexibility because you could get on and off the plane anywhere you wanted. And so when people said, you know, you've got to go to this place, okay, I'll go. It was great. And popping off to Hong Kong cost me $15 because it was en route. Now, it did take me 10 months to fly to London, and some of you know that I have, well, it's the thing I need to work on, my sense of direction, but it wasn't that I got lost. It was just that I had the joy of getting off a plane and spending a month in a lot of countries, and it was fantastic. And I just want you to know that I think about it now and I go, well, where did I get that courage? I probably wouldn't do that now, but because that was my vision for what I wanted, the courage came. The feeling of where will we go next, the incitement, the openness to it was fantastic. So when you have your vision and you assess your life, like what am I capable of now? What can I do? What are my priorities and how do they fit? And you reorganize your priorities and you ask about your values. How can I live my values? Even though we're all part of one, we all have different values. We all have different needs. We all have different goals. And that's where we fit beautifully and where we can support each other in that. It's such a treasure, such a joyful thing for the person that we're talking with. And then, of course, once we've got our goals, it requires action. And for me at the time, that was buying that airline ticket and overpacking. I've learned since that that's not such a good thing. So the important thing is to think about your day. Take a minute to think about what a perfect day is. What would it be? And then it mightn't be realistic, but it's still your vision, and you don't have to tell anybody. Just go, wait, how close am I to that vision? Do I really spend my time doing my spiritual practice in the morning? Do I have a timeline for that? You could try it and see how it enriches your life. Do I have a day a week where I do something special for other people? I think we've all realized here that sense of community is incredibly important. Mark and Monica, have the spiritual discussion group. Mark does the men's group. We have the book discussion group out in the foyer. And the joyful thing is to see people coming back and enjoying seeing each other again, being with each other. We need that as human beings, and that's been part of the destructive side of our little COVID stop. Now we're able to enjoy it. And it's important for us to give, whether you are giving of your talents, your time, your money, volunteering, at your library or a kiddies group or, a church. My gosh, what would we do without our volunteers? And I know that, having worked in a hospital, the hospitals wouldn't survive without their volunteers. So there's always something for us to do. And sometimes if you don't feel like it, do it. Because afterwards you're going to feel amazing. It's sort of like doing exercise. You don't want to do it at the time, but afterwards you feel alive and you feel better for it. So take time to reflect on your life. Happiness, great things, and regrets, because that's part of who you are. And we know from this center that when we know that and when we do that, we can change it. It's all up to us. We can just change it. We can change our thoughts about what we did. We realize that, no, we can't recreate our past. We can deal with it. We can forgive ourselves or forgive other people, but we can't change it. So just what's today? What is it in for me today? And what can guide me towards that vision that I just wrote about for my future? And do my thoughts and my actions coincide with that vision? You can brainstorm on all sorts of roles, but if you pick that vision of your life, my recreation, my family life, my loving relationships, my work, my leisure, and rate it 1 to 10, and then just see where you're missing on the balance, because it has to be balanced. So identify those strengths or those weaknesses. And then you can focus your energy, one, on the things you want to improve, but also on the things that you're grateful for, because we all know that gratitude is incredibly important. So at the end of the day, we're going to be 3, 5 things we're grateful for. And I know a lot of people who express the difficulty in that, because my life's so rotten, what have I got to be grateful for? Well, you're breathing. You looked at a tree. You live in California. That's 3. I've got food to eat. I've got shelter. I've got people that love me. It's all amazing. So when you prioritize your life, you identify what's important to you. And it's important to consider how those different areas in your life are related. Some of you are free to do whatever you please whenever you want. Some of you have family responsibilities. But you can tie it in. You can get balance around it. So you're identifying your values. What do you want in your life? What's important to you? And realizing when you go back to that ethical will, how do I really want people to remember me? Because Rabbi later says, most of the stones that he sees in that cemetery, it's loving father, loving wife, loving son, it's all about the love and the relationships. It's not, he had a great 401k. Or he did really, really well when he was in business. It's not about that. It's about that quality of life. And so it's really important for us to think about that and to realize what our values truly are and what enriches us. You can re-engineer those goals if you feel like it. Like I realized I'd come to a point where I need to... Well, the thing was, in one of our classes I shared that I was content. I was happy. And then it hit me, and I'm so grateful for people who come to class because I find out things about me. I realize that contentment is not a wonderful state to be in. It's stable, but it can get really stale. And so to think new things and to get new goals and to recreate your life plan brings you that vital energy to, I'm ready to go again. I'm ready to have new goals. I'm ready to adventure. I'm ready to explore things. And if you think you like to travel, but you feel like you can't afford it right now, for heaven's sake, explore LA. It's incredible. And most of the time, because I love exploring, people will say to me, well, where should I take my family? Where should I take my friends? Well, there's amazing things. Try the fun of being on the metro. Get your tap card. This is great. Or just explore the beach. Go for a walk. Go to the gardens. Just get out there, feel how beautiful this earth is. And once you do that, you'll have more than a 5P gratitude list. So even though we're known as a philosophy it's all about me, it truly is. Because you cannot be the person that people think they love if you're not true to yourself. And you can't help other people if you're not true to yourself. And we can get over that worry of what will they think. If you express yourself, it might have interesting repercussions, but you'll feel better about yourself when you're true to your beliefs and you don't sit quietly by and let things that you really don't agree with go by. Don't have to argue, just discuss. That's really important to me. So we're going to live with the consequences of our decisions. And if that song, Regrets I Have a Few, but too few to mention. Whoever wrote that wasn't me, that's for sure. But I learned to deal with that and go, okay, I forgive myself. And if you're out there somewhere, forgive me. For I knoweth what I did or wasn't doing. So make deliberate choices. Choose things that you want to learn. Maybe you want a new hobby. Maybe you decide you want to do a new talent. Join, we used to have a ukulele group come here and play. It didn't matter how wonderfully they played, or even if they didn't even know the C chord. They had fun together. Pick something that's fun, or do something that's fun, or something that's outrageously extraordinary for you. You'll feel amazing. And you're going to start enjoying your journey, not just the destination. because you never know when that journey's going to finish, this one. So allow yourself to feel happy. Sometimes we don't do that. When we request a drama-free existence, if it's happening around you, stop it, unless it's fun drama. But we don't have to involve in it. I was in conversations on the weekend where we were talking about, I can't watch any more TV, I can't do this, or I can't do... We get so sucked into it, and our conversation went to the fact that if we get totally involved with it... I have a friend that calls up, did you hear so-and-so, did you do that, did you... And it's like, this doesn't move me, this doesn't move me. Yes, it's important for us to know what's going on, but not to get sucked into it. Because when we go on and on and on about it, we're adding to it. We all know that we have that atmosphere within us that we project, and we add to that in the world. And so there's part of us that's responsible for what's happening in the world now, because we let other people tell us how to think and feel. And there's that thing about, I'll do that when I get there. Well, for heaven's sake, know where there is, because if you don't, you'll probably end up somewhere you didn't want to go. So that's my sense of direction talking again, but never mind. And be aware of the happy moments in your life. Celebrate them. Take the photos. Talk about them, or images on your phone. And learn how to put them into logical order so you can find them when you want to share them. See, I'm thinking all these goals up here right now. Better sense of direction, sorting my photos. Okay, thank you, everybody. You won't see me for weeks. And just keep learning. Keep learning. Keep this going. Invite it. You don't have to know everything right away. Just find something that you find interesting and enjoy learning about it. It's really important. And then practice compassion, sharing, listening. So often we're not hearing, we're just listening. And getting ready for what we want to say next. Listen. And when you listen, there should be a slight pause before you leap in with your opinion and your help, because, of course, that's what the person wants. And if you feel like you can't go out and do something, write a letter, make a phone call, spend time with people that will just be so grateful that you even thought of them. There's so much we can do. Once we feel centered and once we know we can share, then we can reach out to other people and make our lives worthwhile. Then we're part of something wonderful. I read a story about a priest and a taxi driver getting to heaven. I don't know if you've heard it, but I am going to repeat it. The Catholic priest dies, and he's waiting in line at the pearly gates. And as St. Peter processes the new arrivals in the kingdom of heaven, he's standing there and he notices this chap in front of him. And he's dressed in sunglasses, a really loud shirt. He's chewing gum, and he's wearing a leather jacket. And it's like, So the fellow gets up to the front of the line, and St. Peter looks at his clipboard. He goes, could you tell me your name, please? I need to confirm whether you're to be admitted into the kingdom of heaven. Sure, said the guy. You know I can't do it in a New York accent. I'm Joe Cohn, and I was a taxi driver in New York City. St. Peter looks down on his list, and he checks off Joe Cohn's name. He smiles, and he says to the taxi driver, take this silken road and the golden staff, Mr. Cohn. You may enter the kingdom of heaven. Joe Cohn smiles, and he walks through the pearly gates in his silken robe and his golden staff. And then it's the priest's turn. So before St. Peter can utter a single word, the priest says, I'm Father Joseph O'Donnell, and I've been a parish priest at St. Andrew's Roman Catholic Church in Manhattan for 70 years. St. Peter looks at his clipboard. Ah, yes, Father O'Donnell. Take this cotton robe and the wooden staff. You may enter the gates of heaven. So the priest saw Joe Cohn get all the single robe and the golden staff, and he's a bit miffed, I'll say miffed. A little shortchanged. Hold it there just a minute, says Father O'Donnell. How is it that Joe Cohn got the silk and gold and I get cotton and wood? Surely there's a mistake. And St. Peter says, no, in heaven we're rewarded by results. When you gave your sermons, your congregation slept. When Joe Cohn drove his taxi, his passengers prayed a lot. Good old Joe. Judge and she'll not be judged. I want to finish this chat with a little thing from Dr. Frank's book, the one he said, The Art of Being Yourself, because that really appeals to me. We, sometimes even here we don't allow each other to just be ourselves and appreciate ourselves. We don't have to change anyone else. We've got so much to do in our own, we've got so much to do in our own part. We should be busy. So he writes in his book, our life today is not to, if it's not to our liking, we can be sure to change the consciousness that is parenting that which we do not desire to experience. So say to yourself, I want a whole new thought pattern from which to operate. I desire to change my lack consciousness into abundant consciousness. I mean to change my consciousness of separation into one of unity. I know that by approaching this from the inside out, my life will take on new patterns automatically. I will not have to work on each individual problem spiritually, because taking care of the parent, that wonderful essence that we are, will cause all these problems to be cleared up at the same time. And he goes on to say, you're setting up within yourself new causations, and the resulting chain reaction will take care of the subsidiary or satellite problems. This principle is the same as the one that would operate if you said to an interior designer, I love this analogy. And by the way, you are the interior designer of your life and your consciousness. Here, take this room and redecorate it. I want it done in good taste. I want everything to fit right in. And a good designer would come up with something of beauty and harmony, and so can you. We experience life according to our belief, according to what we give universal law to work with. So there. Oh no, I'm supposed to say, here endeth the lesson. So I appreciate your time, and we're going to take a minute now to just share our gifts. And thanks to Ruth for, what is it with me today? Ruth, coming up, and as we'll say from here. So as we hold our gift between our wonderful hands, we say, I think we know it well enough to do it together, divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I give my gift with love, and so it is. And I'll just close. Well, no, I won't. I'm going to let Ruth do her thing. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for looking in too, whoever's looking in. But it's lovely to see everybody back here again. I know you don't want me to sing during this interlude. That's better. So we're just going to close this part of the service today with a Celtic prayer. And it's so simple, but it's really important to us to say, peace be with you. Peace be in you, and peace be all around you. And we know that our prayer for protection is, the light of God surrounds you, the love of God enfolds you, the light of God just guides you in your way. So thank you, everybody. And now we're going to take a few minutes. If you want treatments, Monica's got the mic ready, and maybe we'll even share it. So does anyone have a thing in their life that they want a treatment for? You don't have to be shy, but if you're shy, that's okay. There's a treatment required.
Yes, I believe it's on.
You're on.
I would like a treatment for my aunt. She's facing end of life and making decisions, and I'd like her to have peace and hope for as much fun and adventure as her remaining life has to offer.
Sorry?
She wants the treatment for Aunt Judy.
I forgot I can move this now. It's wonderful. Thank you, Grant. Monica, you do this.
Okay. All right. Just take this moment and join me. Knowing the energy present here and that there is strength in numbers, especially with all of us focusing on that one purpose and that one intention. And the person that we are focused on right now is Debbie's Aunt Judy. Knowing that life is ongoing, it is eternal, it is never ending. To say that Aunt Judy is at the end of life, we know that Aunt Judy is just experiencing one more stop along this journey, on this path. And so right here and right now, knowing that it is all God, it is all love, that it is life, eternal life, everlasting life, never-ending vitality and strength and joy and love. Knowing that that is what is ever present, right here and right now, knowing that what I know for myself, I know is the truth for Judy. I know it is the truth for each and every person present here today. That I am created in the image and likeness of God. That I am created out of this perfection, this wholeness, this joy, this harmony, this peace. That is always the truth of myself, the core of my being. That is me being, showing up and representing God in all its glory. So that I know right here and right now all is well. No matter what the appearances are, no matter what the judgments of this moment are, I know that this is the right place, this is the right time. I have everything that I need to be fully present in this moment, to learn each and everything that is available for me to learn, to have a greater depth of wisdom and understanding and knowledge of life and love, of peace and harmony. I feel this love that so many have for me right here, right now, that I am held and I am embraced and I am soothed and I am comforted right here. I feel a renewed sense of peace. I know that right where I am, God is, and I am one with this divine love, this perfect peace. So I smile now in appreciation for how wonderful my life truly is. And I know that each moment, each minute is filled with delight. That I see it, I recognize it, I appreciate it, I am grateful for it. So I can let go, I can relax, and I can lean into this divine embrace, filled with gratitude, filled with thanksgiving. I unclench, I release, I simply allow it to be so, as I declare, and so it is.
I just want to add a little something to that. Are you near Judy? One of the books that impressed me the most, and I was privileged to attend his lectures, was Dr. Ira Byock. He works through Little Company of Mary, and he works on treating patients with dignity and the way they want to be treated. Because in the busyness of hospitals, sometimes the staff are so busy they forget. And he said the four most important things that you can say to someone who, is in transition is, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. In the movies, we always get a chance to say that to someone that's dying. But there aren't any violins in our life now, and we shouldn't be waiting till the last minute, but you have the opportunity to be with her and to talk to her. Don't be scared to say that. Because sometimes we don't want to say unwelcome things to people, and yet it's what they want to hear the most. And so they pass not hearing those words. And it's really important. So we'll be knowing for you that you feel comfortable having that conversation, that you feel you can say, I love you, forgive me, thank you, and I'm sorry. Wrong order, but you get the message. Don't leave things unsaid. And the same with your children or your loved ones. We're not saving it up to the last minute. So, anybody else? Your lives are absolutely phenomenal. I love it. So we're giving thanks for these wonderful lives. And we can enjoy a summer together. Whoop, a hand.
I wish that we would treat for peace, order, and balance throughout the world, because it is at the heart of everyone, but it needs to be recognized within each one.
Okay, Judy, thank you. It's a really good point. So this is what I know for each and every one of us. That we know that there's a power greater than ourselves, and that we're part of that, and that we don't forget that when we align ourselves with what we want to see in the world, and we want to be what we want to see in the world. And so I know that I'm an expression of love. I'm an expression of joy. And as I center myself in this knowledge, knowing that I am one with God and that I am letting God flow through me, I increase the peace in my world. And by doing that, I increase the peace in this world. When I think about what race consciousness is, I realize that we get a little bit too stuck up on what's going on. So that treatment of tain't so, this is not a part of me. What I see in the world is what I desire in the world. And what I desire in the world, I need to be in my world. So right now, I give thanks for the peace in my life that I partake to the people in my life. I give peace for the joy in my life, notwithstanding the people that are not having a wonderful life. We bless them. We think of them. And out of this chaos comes a new way of living, an appreciation for what we have and we take for granted. So let me be the peace I desire. Let me be the friendship and the love that I desire to see in the world. And let my vision not be ignorant, but be strong and faithful to my core values, to the principles of this philosophy that we adhere to and we love so much. And so I release this into the law, knowing that it works unconsciously for us once we sow that seed. Let me sow love. Let me sow peace. Let me sow joy. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the peace, the love, and the joy that I'm experiencing in my life. I'm grateful for the people that are doing quiet things to restore civility and balance and order. I'm grateful for those quiet heroes that do what their hearts lead them to do. And I release this, knowing that it is being done right this minute. And I say, amen, and so it is. Do we sing or do anything now? Or do we just say thank you? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You get an early mark today.